ask me no questions and I wouldn't have a Q&A page, which he doesn't have one anymore anyway. And anyway, hello everyone, I'm Ron13 and welcome to Shelf Space. Today we are looking at Transformers Legacy United Cybertron Universe Vector Prime. I know that's a mouthful, but that's how they parse all this stuff. I am super excited to check this out. I remember getting the original figure back when I was in college. He was the first Voyager class figure. And technically he is a Voyager class now still, but he is smaller. Fortunately, I don't have my original out to compare him to, but we're still gonna check this guy out and have a lot of fun. And here he is. And on his own, doesn't look too bad. I'm digging the way they've applied the paint. Looks pretty cool. Proportions seem pretty nice, but there are some issues. Let's get a closer look at this guy. So yeah, like I said, the paint actually looks pretty darn good. There's not a whole lot of paint applications, but what they have looks spectacular. I really like this gold they used on there. And he even has paint detail here on his chest. His Cyber Planet key thing does not have any paint on it, sadly. Neither does his sword, but his sword is kind of supposed to look like this, so that's a little bit more forgivable. The main thing that bugs me is these shoulder pauldron armor things, pads, whatever you want to call them, they really should be bigger. They feel absolutely tiny on this guy. And I do not care for how the backpack is set up. I have heard some people talk about trying to do it this way, but it's not really designed to do that. There are these tabs right here that prevent them from going flush. And I've seen a lot of people just nip those right off so that way it goes into place. What's funny though is it almost looks like they're supposed to be able to go in there. I don't know. But I don't care for the way this backpack looks. I can see why a lot of people have modified them. Also, the joints feel a little loose on this guy. Not like wibbly wobbly loose, but just a little not tight, basically. But other than that, this is a fairly good figure in its own right. You got all the articulation points that you really could ask for. They got covers here. This can come off. He even has articulated hands, which is very, very cool. And head sculpt is dead on for Vector Prime. He looks a lot like, I think it was the last Autobot from the Marvel Comics, which I believe was a intentional thing, and I think they even did a repaint of him with that in mind later on. Let's get a closer look at this sword. It's done up in two plastics. You got this very cool translucent blue with silver sparkles in it, and then a purple hilt. And this folds, I believe, for transformation stuff. I haven't gotten there yet. Future me here, it's not for transformation. I don't know why it's there. But yeah, the main thing that's kind of holding this back from being super spectacular is just kind of comparisons to the original. He is a lot smaller than the original, and some of the details are different because this guy is actually a heavy retool and repaint of the G2 Strakus figure that they put out in an earlier line. But I happen to really like that one, so it doesn't affect my enjoyment too much. But let's go ahead and get this guy transformed. Transformation is essentially the same as we saw in Legacy Giacus, though I believe the nose cone twist is a new and really cool addition. Also, I didn't forget the bit where we moved the arms back this time. Anyway, despite the transformation being something we've seen before, it's still a fun and engaging process. We can also stow away all of his accessories here, and that is always nice. And here he is in his sort of space time ship mode. and he looks pretty darn cool. I am, again, digging all the paint. There's not a whole lot of surface detail to kind of muddle things up, but there is enough to make it feel like how Vector Prime looks. He's got a lot of sort of undersurface greeble, if that makes any sense. But like with the robot mode, there are some issues. Whoosh! Swooshability is not one of those issues. The proportions of the ship feel a little off, and I think, again, this might be unfair to this toy because I am thinking about how the original toy was. Just the nose feels very short in comparison to the original, and these wings feel way too small. There are upgrade kits you can get. They will also fix like the paint issues here because this is just all blue plastic when really there should be like some purple here or something. But yeah, so it's not perfect, and I think that kind of sums up the feelings I have for this toy in general. It is not perfect. It's still a pretty darn good toy in its own right. I certainly do not regret getting this thing, and I think other people might enjoy this as well. You just can't compare it to the original. But yeah, I like this. You even do have Minicon ports on here, not that he comes with Safeguard, his Minicon. But it is nice to know that if you wanted to, you could probably attach a couple of Minicons on here just like on the original. So yeah, there we are. I'd say check this out if you have a chance. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, thank you very much for supporting, and I'll see all of you next time you invade my shelf space. Swoosh!